Matthew Stafford last season, 521 attempts, 326 completions, 3,965 yards, 24 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, 30 sacks, and 21 rushing attempts for 65 yards, no rushing touchdowns. Thoughts on Matthew Stafford?
Stafford's still a gunslinger, right? Like it's not the 5,000 yards or anything like that, like from like 2021, but he's still pretty stinking efficient, right? And Sean McVay realized what he had. The run game definitely aided him when Kyron was healthy. They didn't have to do as much. Puka Nakua emerging was a big help to Matthew Stafford. And they were still working through some offensive line issues. But nevertheless, I think those numbers are probably fairly comparable in a Sean McVay offense of what you're going to see out of him this year, too. Somewhere in that neighborhood of 23 to 25 touchdowns. You're probably looking around 11 or 12 interceptions. And, in that 4,000, 4,200 passing yards, right? I think that's kind of your general Matt Stafford passing line. He could probably dip as low as 3,500 passing yards if the running game really takes hold and they're not asking him to do as much. But with Aaron Donald retiring, this defense is not going to be as good, right? They're going to have to get in a couple more shootouts. The defense just looks a little bit different. So it wouldn't surprise me if they got to play catch up a little bit more. And while that's good for the yardage and maybe some of the touchdowns, inevitably the interceptions will creep up a little bit as well. So you just got to be careful about that because there are definitely some games where he had some real bummers in games, a couple pick sixes and everything else that just kind of lead to bad Matt Stafford games. So, he's a solid QB2 if that's what you're looking for. Realistically, I think you'll probably be able to stream him for most of the year. And so you're not necessarily pinned into that, but I do think he provides upside in the right matchup.
Solid QB2 is exactly how I look at Matt Stafford here. Because you look at, how he finished a lot of his weeks. He was in that 17. He had a stretch there in week 12, week 13, week 14, where he was QB7, QB8, QB5. But then there was weeks before where he was QB 24 in week 11 there, QB 26 in week 8. He had missed a game, and then they had the bye week. He also missed the last week of the season as well. So QB2, like that's where Matthew Stafford is. He's a solid QB2.
This is a guy that's in a super flex league. Yeah, sign me up. Want Matthew Stafford as my QB2 in a super flex. In a single QB league, this is one of those that I'm probably going to be going more of a quarterback by committee and wouldn't mind having Matthew Stafford be part of that quarterback by committee, but not looking to necessarily kind of hang my single QB season on Matt Stafford there.